Hello everybody. I just wanted to make a second video for partial quotients after reflecting on the video that I sent out yesterday. I wanted to make a part 2 video with just some examples that are step-by-step to the point, the actual process, rather than having the explanations of why each step is done in between. So hopefully that will help with any further confusion and just to see how the actual process is completed real time. So I have some task cards that we're going to be completing in class today, and we're just going to do 3 or so examples of these problems. So the first one is 324 divided by 6, and that's card Z. So we are going to write out 324 divided by 6. And then we'll draw our little line to separate our work from our list of partial quotients that we'll be adding up at the end. So first we're going to see how many times 6 can go into 300, which 6 can go into 300 50 times. So we do 6 times 50 to get all the way to 300. So we're going to subtract that out, and we're left with 24. And then we start over. We see how many times we can multiply 6 to get as close as possible to 24 without going over. 6 times 4 is 24. So we're going to subtract that out. We're left with 0. 0 means that we are done with our division. We can't do anything further. It also means that we do not have a remainder because this is 0. We have nothing left over. Notice that when I wrote down my partial quotients, I kept them in line by place value. That makes it easier for me to just go ahead and add them up vertically when I'm done with listing them. So now that I have the parts of the quotients, this is when I just add them together to get 54. So these are the partial quotients, 50 and 4, and then my whole quotient is 54. So 324 divided by 6 is 54. Another example, card U is 1,875 divided by 3. So we're going to set this up the same way. Create a line separating our work from our list of partial quotients. And then we're just going to go and look and see how many times you can multiply 3 to get to this 18 here, which is really 1,800. So 3 times 600 gets us to 1,800 or 1,800. Subtract that out, and we are left with 75. And then we start again. How many times can you multiply 3 to get to 75? Since 3 times 25 is 75, we're going to go ahead and subtract that out. And we are left with another 0. That means we have a second problem with no remainder. If this number was greater than 0, but less than the divisor, that's how you know that we would have a remainder at the end as well. So for here we have our 2 partial quotients. We have 625. Add them together to get the whole quotient of 625. So 1,875 divided by 3 is 625. And then of course in class we're going to talk about how we'll check with multiplication. So to check card Z, we would do 54 times 6. And then if our answer to that is 324, we know that we're correct. And then for U, we would do 625 times 3. If we come up with 1,875 for our product for that, all 3 numbers match, so we're happy. All right, one more card. We're going to do card N. And that is 5,264 divided by 8. So again, we're gonna separate our work from our list of partial quotients. And then we're gonna look and see how many times you can multiply 8 to get to 52 without going over. So we're gonna start with doing 8 times 6 because 8 times 6 is 48. So that's as close as we can get to 52 without going over. And that needs to be 100 because we have these 2 zeros here. So 8 times 600 will be our first partial quotient. And then we'll subtract that out. And we are left with 464. Now we are going to see how many times we can multiply 8 to get to 46 without going over. So 8 times 50 will get us to 400. And then subtract that out, and we are left with 64. Luckily, that is a multiple of 8. So we know that 8 times 8 gets us all the way to 64. Subtract that out, and we are left with our 0, meaning again, we have no remainder for this problem either. Add up all of our partial quotients to get our whole quotient. So our quotient is 658. 5,264 divided by 8 is 658. And in order to check this one, you would do 658 times 8, and you should get 5,264 as your product for that when you're checking, and then you know that you have a correct answer. All right, I hope this helps, just seeing it quick time, step by step, without all of the added explanation. As I said in my video yesterday as well, just as a heads up, we are going to be working on this all week. So if you are struggling or if your child is struggling, don't worry, we still have lots of practice to go with partial quotients. Thank you. I hope you all have a great day.